Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast. During this past week, the only sensible weather that we had to deal with was a system that moved through on Sunday and into the Monday time frame, and it primarily impacted south central through east central Nebraska, with the heaviest precipitation totals located across extreme southeastern Nebraska. The further northwest you move from this area, the less you've seen in precipitation. In fact, many areas of the western half of the state went precipitation free, which was actually a benefit in terms of harvest activity, as we are behind normal for this time of the year. Now, the National Statistic reports that came out on Tuesday morning that reflects the data through Monday, because it was the holiday, essentially was indicating that 90% of the corn crop in Nebraska was harvested and 45% of the soybean crop. With this good weather that we've had during this week, I suspect that these totals are going to ramp up rather dramatically as we go into next week's release, which will come out on Tuesday or Monday afternoon into Tuesday morning. And I suspect that we'll see soybean harvest breaching the 80% mark, if not even approaching the 90% mark. Corn, I think, will be very fortunate if we get another 10% jump on the ratings, but I expect that that'll start to improve based on the weather next week. We expect that excellent harvest activity holds all the way through at least the midweek period, and the only fly in the ointment is another system that may impact eastern Nebraska. So let's take a look at the upper air models and see how this week's going to progress. Here's the upper air trough that is situated over the eastern United States, and in its wake we do have a high pressure ridge building in. There is a slight little weak wave moving through. This doesn't have any moisture associated with it, so we're expecting nothing but a few clouds and a little bit of cooler than normal conditions by a few degrees, but we'll start to see the warm-up start to take place tomorrow as this ridge starts to build up toward the northern plains. We'll see that cool conditions start to release its grip over the Great Lakes region, so we'll be looking at temperatures getting more seasonable across the western part of the state, with just slightly below normal across northeast Nebraska. Now, as we go into Monday, we'll see this ridge firmly establish itself, so this is great harvest activity weather across the midsection of the country, and it looks like this is going to be pretty much a status quo feature for the next couple days. As we go into Tuesday, we just see the ridge starting to slip just a little bit toward the east-southeast. That's going to put us on the back side of this high pressure ridge. Much warmer conditions move in. Easily everybody in the state should be in the 70-degree range, with some isolated 80-degree readings across the western one-third of the state possible. Now, as we get into Wednesday, this ridge starts to even move farther toward the east. We have a little wave moving across the northern plains, and so we're going to get that southwesterly flow ahead of this system, and everybody should be in the 70s with a few 80s across western Nebraska. And as we get into Thursday, the system starts to drive toward the southeast, and right now the main precipitation band looks to be across eastern Nebraska, and at this point it doesn't look like much in the way of significant moisture, although this could change. And as we get into Friday, the system passes toward our southeast, and high pressure system builds back in. So if we look at the temperature forecast, we'll see that we have a warming trend through the middle of the week before a slight cool down with that system coming in. In terms of the 8 to 14 day forecast, with that ridge building back in, warmer than normal conditions are expected. And as we see precipitation above normal, that is reflecting another system coming in toward the last full week of the month.